If you have ever looked through the endless lists of free games, you quickly realize that most of them are terrible. That's why I spent the last few days pouring over hundreds of free games to compile a list of the actual good ones. So if this video helps you, a like is much appreciated. Enjoy. The first game on our list is Cry of Fear, a psychological horror game set in a bleak and eerie urban landscape. And you step into the shoes of Simon, a young man navigating shadowy streets of a town while grappling with personal trauma, disturbing visions, and monstrous threats. Now, the gameplay of Cry of Fear combines traditional survival horror elements with a really unique inventory system and mechanics. Resources like ammunition and health items are scarce, forcing you to adopt a careful and strategic approach to confrontations. The game also introduces a dual-wielding system, allowing you to carry a weapon alongside a light source, really adding to the tension and decision-making of the game. The narrative weaves in themes of psychological trauma, making it harder for you to discern reality from your tormented mind. You basically never know what's real or not. And what makes the game particularly memorable is the dense atmosphere, coupled with a story-driven approach. The use of grainy visuals, unsettling soundscapes, and distorted environment evokes a constant sense of dread and unease. And as you uncover more of Simon's past and the mysteries of the town, you are challenged not only by physical adversaries, but also by the psychological horrors that blur the lines between reality and nightmare. And this blend of horror and narrative depth makes Cry of Fear a standout title for fans of horror games. The next game on the list is SCP Secret Laboratory, which is a multiplayer horror game based on the lore of SCP Foundation. And the game sets multiple players in a secret scientific facility where various unknown entities known as SCP, aka Secure, Contain, Protect, have escaped confinement. And the gameplay is really dynamic and intense, and mainly centered around the interactions between various player-controlled factions, scientists, D-class personnel, facility guards, mobile task force, and more. And each faction have their own unique objectives, ranging from escaping the facility to neutralizing the other groups. And teamwork is essential to survive and to accomplish these objectives. The game's design also encourages roleplay and communication among players, really enhancing the depth of the experience. And one of the main highlights of the game is the atmosphere of suspense and dread. The facility is large, labyrinth, and filled with dangerous SCPs, each possessing unique abilities. And the game's graphic style supports the eerie atmosphere. And as a free-to-play title, SCP Laboratory offers a really thrilling, chaotic, and immersive multiplayer horror experience that is a true hidden gem amongst games. The next game on our list is Spooky Jump Scare Mansion. It's got a really unique blend of humor and horror, where you are challenged to navigate through 1,000 rooms in a sprawling mansion owned by a ghostly figure, Spooky. Now, at first glance, the game presents itself with deceptively cute aesthetics, featuring cardboard cutouts of cheerful ghosts and pastries that pop out unexpectedly. But as you progress, the mansion reveals layers of increasingly sinister and disturbing environments. The gameplay mechanics are really straightforward, but really effective in building tension. You need to explore rooms, solve minor puzzles, and occasionally flee from grotesque and deadly monsters, which stalk the hallway throughout the mansion. Now, each monster encountered has its own backstory, behaviors, and methods of hunting you, making each section of room a unique challenge. Now, the lore of the mansion and its inhabitants is revealed throughout scattered notes and encounters, drawing you deeper into the game's twisted narrative. But what truly set the game apart from other horror games is the balance between genuine scares and light-hearted humor. The unexpected, adorable jump scares against that backdrop of creeping dread and genuine terror makes for a really memorable experience. And the game effectively plays with your expectations, taking you on a roller coaster of emotions, from laughter to sheer panic. And the game is a true testament to the game's design that is both comedic and horrific elements, and that those can coexist. And this is a great and really unique entertaining horror experience. Now we're looking at Dark Deception, a horror arcade game, and at its core, the game is a dark reimagination of a classic maze chase arcade game. But it does bring a modern horrifying twist. You must navigate a labyrinth while collecting shards. However, you are not alone in these mazes. Terrifying enemies, each with their own unique behaviors and patterns, pursue you relentlessly throughout the game, turning the shard collection into a desperate race for survival. And the only way to escape is to confront and conquer your inner demons and face your darkest fears. Basically means that every level or nightmare in the game represents a different set of challenges and horrors, from murderous monkeys in a hotel to sinister school children in classrooms. And the standout feature of the game is a blending of adrenaline pumping gameplay with genuine horror elements, and the game's first-person perspective intensifies the feeling of being hunted, and the atmospheric sound design amplifies the suspense. The game also introduces power-ups that adds another depth of gameplay if you have to plan out strategically what you're gonna do, allowing you to decide whether to flee, confront, or outsmart the monsters. And all these elements combined make Dark Deception a really spine-chilling experience that'll keep you on the edge of your seat. The next game is Wind Back, and the game is set in a chilling environment of an abandoned lunar research station, and you find yourself waking up precariously, only to discover that the environment has become twisted and unfamiliar. And as you explore the eerily deserted space station, it quickly becomes apparent that you are trapped in a time loop, revisiting the same locations while attempting to find a way out. The game is heavily atmospheric, utilizing its visual striking setting to immerse you further into a narrative, which is all shrouded in mystery. And as you navigate the station, you encounter clues and puzzles that gradually shed light on the underlying story and the sinister events that took place. The game features a camera mechanic that plays a central role in the puzzle solving, and it really challenges you to capture and recognize specific elements in the environment, which can then further assist in your escape. And the game uses its short playtime to create a really dense, unsettling atmosphere, making every moment filled with tension. And this combination of detailed graphics and excellent sound design and the enigmatic nature of the time loop really keeps you on your edge. And with really intriguing setting, narrative-driven gameplay, and spine-tingling ambience, Wind Back is one of the best free horror games to this date. The next game on the list is No More Room in Hell, which is definitely an older game, but it's still a great choice. And you're plunged into the heart of a world overrun by a horrifying zombie apocalypse, and the setting is a dystopian landscape where you are a survivor battling your way through the undead menace. And your ultimate goal is simple yet challenging: survive the onslaught, save as many fellow survivors as possible, and find a way out of that hell the world has become. And the game's core gameplay is based on cooperative multiplayer action, where you and your team must work together to survive. And this isn't your typical run and gun zombie game. Ammunition and resources are scarce, forcing you to carefully plan your every move and shot, and the threat of infection is ever present, adding extra layer of tension as you navigate through various maps filled with the relentless undead. And the game is also very different from other zombie games, with its emphasis on realism and teamwork. The game provides you with no HUD, there is no health meters or crosshairs, further enhancing the intense immersive atmosphere. And furthermore, its friendly fire and the chance of becoming a zombie upon death adds an intriguing dimension to the gameplay. And communication and collaboration are vital, making the experience feel like a true struggle for survival in a zombie world. And fans of intense cooperative multiplayer experience with a significant emphasis on realism and strategy will love this game. Now looking at the game, Transmissions Element 120, a single-player shooter set in the Half-Life 2 universe. And the game stands out as a unique take on the Half-Life 2 universe, including new mechanics and a distinct storyline, while still capturing the ambience and style that made the original game so popular. In terms of the gameplay, it features many of the elements familiar to fans of Half-Life series, with combat, exploration, and puzzle solving taking the center stage. But a notable addition is a new weapon/tool, a modified gravity gun that enables you to jump larger distances. This mechanic introduces a fresh dimension to the puzzle solving and combat, and offers new ways to explore the game environment. The narrative is also really atmospheric, mysterious, and designed to keep you intrigued throughout the entire game. And while the game is quite short, it entails extremely detailed environment, immersive sound design, and a compelling narrative that really creates a unique experience that extends beyond the game's duration. And the game offers a remarkable, intense gaming experience that will surely delight you if you're a fan of the Half-Life series. And even if you're not, because the game is that great. The next game is Concluse, and the game is heavily inspired by the survival horror games of the late 90s. And the game takes you back to the era with fixed camera angles, grainy visuals, and intricate puzzle solving mechanics. The game plunges you into a haunting world filled with cryptic notes, bizarre characters, and unsettling environments, drawing clear inspirations from classics like Silent Hill. The narrative of the game follows Michael, a man searching for his wife, and as you delve deeper into the mysteries, you encounter increasingly bizarre sights that will challenge your perception of reality. The labyrinth streets, abandoned buildings, and eerie underground tunnels conceal a ton of dark secrets that you must then unravel to progress. And Conclusive stands out for its dedication to recreating the feeling of vintage horror titles. This can be seen in the controls, the cryptic puzzles, and emphasis on atmosphere over combat, which are all characteristics of the golden age of survival horror. And this combined with the ambient soundtrack, the game's lo-fi aesthetics, this all creates a palpable sense of dread. And the game is a must play for any fans of retro horror games. The next game is DDLC, which doesn't strike you as a typical horror game, but once you dive deeper into it, this game is sinister as hell. And the gameplay involves writing poems to woo one of the club members, fitting well within the romantic visual novel genre. However, as the story progresses, it becomes apparent that this is anything but a typical dating sim. Beneath the cheerful exterior, the game delves into disturbing and dark themes, touching on mental illness, obsession, and the unsettling realization that the characters have an awareness of being in a video game. And this meta-awareness leads to really unexpected and often chilling narrative twists. The game breaks the fourth wall multiple times, directly addressing and manipulating you as the player, leading to an experience that is unsettling as it is innovative. And this is also where the game has garnered significant attention and acclaim for a really unique approach to storytelling. And also with blending familiar tropes of anime-inspired visual novels with a psychological horror in unexpected ways. This game is a standout title in both the visual novel and horror games, and the game is often recommended with a warning. Its cheery facade hides deeply disturbing content and is not for the faint of heart. So while it might look cute, this is definitely not a game for kids. Now looking at A Place Forbidden, an atmospheric horror adventure game set in a mysterious and isolated library known as the Library of Ouroboros, and you are driven by your insatiable curiosity about this forbidden place, and you seek into the library seeking knowledge and understanding. But as you delve deeper into the labyrinth of corridors and shelves of books, it becomes clear that the library is no ordinary establishment, and the knowledge it holds might come at a terrible price. The game primarily revolves around exploration and puzzle solving. As you navigate through a different section of the library, you will encounter enigmatic texts, strange artifacts, and cryptic puzzles. These elements not only help progress the story, but also offer a deeper understanding of the dark secrets and histories contained within the library walls. The game aesthetics and sound design enhances the sense of unease and mystery, making every discovery both tantalizing and unsettling. Now, what really stands out about the game is the emphasis on psychological horror over jump scares. The game builds a creeping sense of dread throughout the entire narrative and atmosphere, making you constantly question your surrounding and the nature of knowledge you're seeking. The game is relatively short, but packs a really dense and haunting experience, and it's great for fans of narrative-driven horror. Now looking at September 1999, which is a really brief yet intense horror experience. The game actually only lasts about 5 minutes, and is all presented with a VHS tape capturing disturbing events that occurs over several days. And this grainy, authentic VHS aesthetics, devoid of any heads-up display or clear objectives, and it all serves to deeply immerse the player into a chilling narrative. Now the gameplay is relatively exploratory. You navigate through a seemingly mundane apartment, but as the days progress, subtle and not so subtle changes in environment hint at the increasingly sinister occurrences. The game doesn't rely on jump scares or the traditional horror game mechanics. Instead, it focuses on creating an escalating sense of dread throughout atmospheric tension, disturbing visuals, and unsettling audio cues. And the game really stands out in the horror genre because of this unique approach. By mimicking the aesthetics of a home-recorded VHS tape and providing no context or explanation, it leaves you pretty much to your own imagination, making the experience all the more chilling. And this ambiguous nature of the events and open-ended conclusion actually allows you to draw your own interpretations, and even though it's a short game, it is very memorable. The next game on the list is The Static Speaks My Name. It's a really dark and unsettling first-person psychological horror game, and it takes place in a dimly lit apartment during the early hours of the morning, and you are greeted with a static-filled TV screen displaying a distant palm tree image, setting the somber mood for the experience ahead. The gameplay is relatively brief but really impactful, and it leads you throughout a series of mundane tasks with disturbing discoveries about the protagonist's obsessions and deteriorating mental state. The apartment you're in is filled with numerous strange items, including a series of the paintings of the recurring palm tree, a set of shrimps held in captivity, and a room filled with unsettling research. And these elements, combined with a series of dark and deeply uncomfortable objectives, offers an intimate look into a mind consumed by despair, loneliness, and obsession. And what really makes the game stand out is the ability to handle dark themes and convey a profound sense of unease in a really compact duration. It doesn't rely on traditional jump scares, but instead build horror throughout the oppressive atmosphere and the emotional turmoil in the surroundings. The game becomes a chilling exploration of depression, isolation, and the human psyche's dark corners, really leaving you with lingering thoughts and emotions well after the conclusion of the game. And it's a must play for any horror game enjoyer. The next game is Ultimate Custom Night, which is a standout game in the popular Five Nights at Freddy's atmosphere. The game challenges you to survive the night against an overwhelming roster of animatronics with 50 distinct characters, each with their own unique behaviors and mechanics. It offers a highly customizable experience, really tailored to your own preferences. And of course, in typical Five Nights at Freddy fashion, you take on the role as a night shift security guard, managing a range of survival cameras, doors, and other protective mechanics to fend off the animatronics. What really sets the game apart is your ability to select which animatronics to face, adjusting their own difficulty levels on a scale from 0 to 20. And this leads to a countless combination ranging from easy to almost impossible difficulty setups. And the game is fundamentally about strategy and quick reflexes. Now, it doesn't skimp out on the horror element. The atmosphere is tense and with a constant need to check cameras, listen for audio cues, and beyond the gameplay, the installment is also filled with lore hints and Easter eggs, feeding into the larger mysteries of the Five Nights at Freddy universe. So whether you're seeking a high-stakes strategic challenge, jump scare-filled horror, or deeper lore explanation, the game delivers on all fronts. The next game is Perfect Vermin, so really surreal and unsettling first-person horror game, where at the core, you are tasked with a seemingly simple objective: locate and destroy all the vermin within an office building. However, these vermin are not typical pests. Instead, they take the form of everyday objects: chairs, desks, cabinets, blending in seamlessly with the environment. And you are then armed with a sledgehammer, and you must discern which objects are real and which are the grotesque mimics. The atmosphere is deeply unsettling, compounded by the game's abstract, low-poly art style and really eerie soundtrack. And as you smash your way throughout the rooms, you will occasionally be confronted with brief, jarring cutscenes, slowly revealing a fragmented narrative. And all these scenes will hint at a deeper, more disturbing theme and underlying story about humanity, life, and existential dread. And the game stands out in the horror game due to the unique blend of fast-paced destruction gameplay and slow-burning psychological unease. Instead of relying on jump scares, the game builds horror throughout this disorientating environment, mysterious narrative, and the constant uncertainty of what's real and what is an imposter. The game is brief but really impactful and will challenge you to contemplate deeper existential themes while navigating the nightmarish world. And the final game on our list is Mind's Eyes, an atmospheric first-person horror game set in a dimly lit house. And the game thrusts you into an eerie environment filled with suspense, mystery, and palpable sense of dread. And as the game unfolds, it's evident that the player's surroundings are not just a regular home, but rather a manifestation of your own character's nightmares and subconscious fears. The gameplay is heavily exploration-based, prompting you to navigate throughout the intricate layout of the house, uncovering snippets of narrative and encountering various paranormal events. Ambient noises, unsettling visuals, and occasionally jump scares all punctuate the journey, creating ever-present tension. And as you progress, you will unlock hints and clues about the circumstances leading to a current predicament, shedding light on the character's troubled psyche. And the game stands out for its ability to create an intense horror experience without a reliance on combat or traditional survival mechanics. The strength of the game lies in its detailed environmental storytelling, well-crafted sound design, and the escalating psychological tension that will pull you into the dark narrative. While the game is a relatively short experience, it really offers a memorable journey into the haunting depths of human fear and the mind, and is a must play. Let me know in the comments which game on this list is your favorite, but also what game you're gonna try out after watching this video. And if you're looking for more inspiration for games to play, I would highly recommend checking out the videos on the screen now, as I think you will also really like those. So check those out and I'll see you over there.